I've never been a fan of certain times of year. Certain events through my life would take place that only left me feeling annoyed or disinterested, and beyond feeling those ways, I never really knew why a lot of the time. For example, holidays. I never really liked holidays, and that's because of me being Jehovah's Witness. They don't believe in holidays of any sort, and there are a bunch of different reasons as to why that I can get into in another time. One thing I can never seem to get away from is politics, which is annoying for a few different reasons. The first reason is that nobody seems to know what politics is and isn't, and this has a tendency to shut conversations down. For example, I'm chatting with someone about the education system in America, how annoying it is that we don't reform this thing and try to teach through different means. Now, I'm just trying to have a conversation about the public school system when someone shoots up and starts raving about how President whoever is going to fix everything, and how Russia's an awful country and North Korea can't do what America can in terms of war, and this is the annoying part. I wasn't talking about politics, you stone-headed fool, I was talking about school. See, the annoying thing is this blanket that politics has dropped over everything. It seems you can't have a conversation with anyone these days without it derailing and turning into some debate about how amazing Trump is and how nobody will actually listen, which is ironic as politics almost never has anything to say. Just random shouting of buzzwords in hopes the ones you're using will pull in a larger crowd of people. Politics has always bored me, and when I was a bit younger I kicked myself for that. Damn, Barry, you're not smart enough to get into politics. You don't know what to say in these conversations about war and hunger when in fact those statements were a lie. I knew exactly how I felt about it. I just didn't seem to align with how everyone else was told to. And I know I sound like I'm talking like the only sane guy out there, but sometimes I do feel that way. How do these people not realize this whole shindig is a distraction? Our country isn't actually interested in stopping wars or feeding the hungry, are you kidding me? We want that to go on for as long as possible. The longer we have war, the longer we're seen as a superpower nation. The longer we have people starving, the more it scares the middle class into working their lives away. But the problem with saying stuff like this is it sounds radical if you don't take a step back and delve into it. So let's do that instead of doing what politicians do and just use buzzwords and blanket statements, starting with picking a president. The only thing I hear lately is, when are you going to vote? Did you put your vote in? Who are you going to vote for? And as I've gotten older, my answers become a heavier and heavier nobody. I've mentioned this before, but I don't vote, and this has always been one of the more controversial stances that I've taken. Now, I know I'm not one to latch onto hard beliefs, but I have no reason to believe that my vote does a damn thing. It's always felt very similar to the God argument. Which God do you serve, Barry? Well, when one of them's kind enough to show me they actually exist, I'll go for that one. But until then, I'm happy living my own life, thank you very much. And I take this same stance with voting, and there are a few reasons that I feel that way. Firstly, the choices. America's like one big game show. Imagine the set of American Idol or Survivor. They always have to whittle it down to the last two candidates, and don't you try to BS me with those side parties. Barry, you know the Green Party could rise up one day and F off, you know better. Does it ever surprise people that these side parties never get picked? Isn't that kind of odd? But we can get to that a little later on. With our choices, we have two delegates that stand up on a podium, and we, the American people, are then told that we elected these bastards in. Really? Because I think that I would have picked someone else, right? I think that if the American people were actually involved in the lineup, we would have done a much better job, right? So how did these people actually get in? Was it money? Did they know the right guy? But then our government has to then convince us that it was our choice. Well, America chose these guys and it looks like they'll just have to pick the best of two evils. Weird, it's like I've heard that one before. Is that all America ever has to offer, the best of two evils? And you'll hear people defending it. You'll start talking trash on Trump or Biden and they'll say, well, we didn't really get a good pick this year. How is it not obvious to you then that this isn't a very free system, when it seems like everyone around you is saying what the media has told them to say? Does it feel like you're a free-thinking citizen, or does it feel like you were brainwashed and told to spurt out garbage? Because I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see why this education system isn't going anywhere. So then we have two picks, and one of them says, I'm going to reform education because I'm a lying asshole who wants you on my side. And the other one says, I'm going to keep America great, which is easy because all I have to do is tell my citizens it's great, and they believe me. So, yay! People then look at me and say, Barry, you're not going to vote? You know how important it is that this one is in office? And I'm going to ask you why. Why is it important? Name me one notable thing that the president's actually done. Well, Barry, I'll have you know that President Trump made it illegal to dump waste in the oceans, so there. Yeah, did he? Or did some faceless delegate slide a paper over to him and tell him to sign it? This is what I mean. Even if you do have the guy you want in office, he's nothing more than a face. The decisions made were not his, he's just the guy who signs the paper. And this is what we're making a fuss about? Okay, Barry, what about foreign affairs? The president does have to go overseas and talk to other officials, sign peace treaties and make nice with the leaders of other countries, and I'll have to agree with that. That's one reason I liked Obama so much. This guy was charismatic, he had a lot of common sense. But how hard is that job really when a guy like Trump can do it? The guy says whatever he wants, there's no care there. I find it funny too how it doesn't strike us as odd that large corporations can sponsor a presidential campaign. So imagine a company like Pepsi backed me and I was running for president. I'm elected, and in the middle of my term, Pepsi then comes to me and says, "Hey, remember how we helped you in that election? Want to go ahead and put a stop to this bill that if passed would lose us millions of potential monies?" Now, me being a good president who sincerely does want to make a difference in this world, I could reply by saying, well, what if I say no? To which Pepsi or whatever large organization would say, well, good luck finding backing from us next term then. Whoops, and that's how that works. So the whole goddamn thing's a sham through and through. Even if these potential presidents believe that they could do good, the obvious is staring them directly in the face. They have no power in there, and this is why politics bores me so much. It keeps us from thinking freely and actually having conversations because this topic is political. And if you feel this way, then it means you align with this party, and we don't align that way. So instead of actually getting to chat about education or war or freedom, we instead flip out on one another because someone else told us to be divisive. Give me a break. Okay, Barry, so then why is this so bad? Why is it so bad to have a side you root for? And I'm not saying that it's bad, but it is divisive over nothing. What's the end goal here, honestly? Do you know what you're fighting for here? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks kind of obvious to me. As far as I see it, politics is about corruption. And why would I be interested in that? Yay, it's fun for me to watch resources burn away because some company wanted to sell more stuff to the idiots out there who just consume. I love that we go to war and kill each other over pointless bullshit instead of trying to figure out how to feed one another. Isn't it embarrassing that we have the internet, a source that connects us together more than we've ever been before, and all it's really taught us is how little we actually care? I want to give you guys an example of this whole system just in case I sound like another tool who's on a side and wants to sway your mind. Think of the Middle Ages. Think of castles and empires, kings and queens, and I want you to imagine you're just a lowly peasant. One day, a woman stands up on stage and says, "I'm queen. You now have to obey me and everything I say is law." You look around and the crowd is cheering. Yeah, she's queen and I'm loyal for no reason. It's a game. It's a game of power and control over people. That's how you win. We made up money and royal blood and agreed that those things meant anything at all. Those people are wearing royal colors, so they're important. Okay, Barry, how is any of this relevant, you might ask? And that's a good point. Nowadays, we have people walking the streets, and if they're wearing the right shade of blue, they're allowed to arrest me. I go into court and I sit in front of a man with a wig as he tells me my punishment. It's a game. We made it up, and it's the same boring game we've been playing for centuries. We just have different names for the players now. We can't call them slaves anymore. No, they're hard workers with paying jobs. This is freedom. As far as it seems to me, it's a poorly designed piece of crap game developed by greedy idiots who think they can keep me playing. And like I said before, I'm not interested. Screw your queen, I'll go live my own life, thank you very much. I don't need other people telling me how to live my life, what right and wrong is like I'm an idiot, and try to keep me distracted with this mess so I don't take a step back and look at what this game is doing to our future survivability. It's a distraction, and I'm not interested in being distracted anymore. What's real is right in front of us. We have such a large hubris that we think we can make up laws. You think nature cares what laws we make? This planet will take anything we can dish out for years to come. It'll laugh as we eat up resources and get confused as to why it's so hard to live out here now. Then it'll shake us off like the ants we are and continue on. This is what I mean by taking a step back. We're human beings, and that's as far as it goes. And if we can't figure that out by this point, then good luck to us. Now, I know I sounded a little angry, but I want to be clear. I love this country. I'm taking my van across this place because I want to see it in all its beauty. And I could not have been luckier to have been born here, but I'm done with this game. It's divisive, idiotic, and it keeps people from actually having engaging conversations about actual subjects. The only freedom we have here in America is the freedom to be distracted or not, and you're the one who gets to decide that. I'm not saying don't get involved in politics, and if you do love politics, that's great. Maybe you can do something for this place, but I'm not the guy. The biggest problem you have with this system too is if you voice things like this, you're labeled a communist or non-patriotic, which is just another way of turning our brains off instead of actually talking to one another. Don't listen to him, it sounds like he actually formed his own opinion, and that's dangerous. If you vote, that's great. If you feel good about your pick and you do believe your vote matters, more power to you. I'm just not interested in a system that only cares about money, killing people, taking our freedoms away, eating resources, and then all the while tells me that these decisions were mine. You're wrong, Barry. This system's the best system in the world, and it's not a game at all. Yeah, that's probably what the president says too, after he finishes his campaign.